Good day everyone, it's Graham from Great Off-Road Adventures. Welcome back to the next episode in the Great Escape Adventure series. You're joining us, we're still in the Victorian high country just outside of Dargo, and in today's episode we've got river crossings and more river crossings because we take on the classic Crooked River track as well as checking out some of the historical sites in the area.
Welcome to Great Off-Road Adventures and the Great Eas-Cape. We've shown you 3 seasons of rocks to reefs as we've explored our own backyard and the beautiful areas of Western Australia. Now it's time for us to take you to the East Coast. We're going to start in the Vic High Country, we're going to finish in Cape York. Come along for a hell of an adventure. Good day everyone, it's our last day here at Black Snake Creek and today we're going to go and drive the Crooked River track round to Talbotville and then come up the Bulltown Spur, check out the Grant historical ruins and then come down on Conways or Randall or something back down into this side of the valley. So it should be another good day of scenic forward driving and also some challenging forward driving. Anyway, let's get into it. First things first, get family ready, get some brekkie on.
After a quick bite to eat for breakfast, it was time for us to start our adventures for the day. A short run along the Wanangata Road on the banks of the Wanangata River before turning off onto Talbotville Road and starting our tracks/adventures for the morning.
Well, we're basically started the Crooked River track now. We're still, I guess, on Talbotville Road, but we've got our first crossing of the Crooked River. So from turn onto Talbotville Road, you end up going parallel with the Wanangata River for a bit, and then the rivers separate and you end up running parallel to the Crooked River, and then you end up crossing the Crooked River, I don't know, quite a few times on this track. So yeah, we've got our first crossing of the Crooked River ahead of us here.
Well, the first section of the Crooked River track is actually on Talbotville Road. Not only do you need to watch out for the river crossings, you also need to watch out for the herd of beef that likes to roam along the edge of the road. Tell you what, those are some pretty tasty looking steaks if you ask me right there.
Well, we've just checked out the Talbotville camping area, and it is very pretty. Equally as nice as Black Snake Creek, that's for sure. We, having now driven the Talbotville road out to Talbotville from the Wanangata road, we probably would have towed the van through there and just made call outs. There's enough passing spots and whatnot if you do find an oncoming car. And then yeah, the other way is McMillan's Road, which you know, in hindsight everyone recommended that to me, so it probably would have been okay as well. But anyway, Talbotville equally as nice as Black Snake Creek. And now we continue on what is called the Crooked River Track. So the bit that we were driving before was Talbotville Road. Now we are on the Crooked River Track. And it starts off with river crossings and a few mud holes, so we're into the fun stuff already.
Well everyone, if you're enjoying the Great Off-Road Adventures content, could you do us a massive favour and like the video, subscribe to the channel and enable notifications. We've barely scratched the surface with what we've shown you so far from the Victorian high country, and there is stacks more to come from our Great Escape adventure. So hopefully we'll see you around in all our other videos too. The water levels on the Crooked River were pretty low, and obviously bearing in mind this was the middle of March 2025 after a pretty dry summer. So yeah, it's to be expected and obviously not a surprise for us, but we drove the track because it was nice and scenic, and there were still some fun little challenges on the entries and exits to the creek crossings. The Crooked River track was going quite well up to this point here, but I made a minor misjudgment on my line, and combined with the wet clay, had a fairly good brown pants moment. It's probably safe to say that without the scrub rails, we would have done some fairly significant panel damage at that point. In total today we would do over 30 river crossings, obviously most of them along the section of the Crooked River. Now the track itself is not overly challenging, but there are particular creek crossings like this one that will definitely pose a challenge if you're trying to bring a stock vehicle along the track. So yeah, I was glad to obviously have a lift and tyres and a couple diff locks. Because yeah, there was a couple occasions like that one just there where I used them just to help me out. We are nearing the end of the Crooked River track. That finishes up here, and then we go up, I believe it's the Bulltown Spur road or Bulltown Spur track.
So yeah, that's Talbotville. We've probably done 3/4. We got a little bit left to go, but we're at a nice clearing, so we're going to stop here for lunch. And it is 5 to 12, so it's good enough time as any for lunch. So yeah, there's been probably 3 or 4 clearings along this section of the Crooked River track from Talbotville. We stuck our nose into one that was, just a little bit smaller than this. But yeah, this one's a little bit bigger. I'll spin you around. There's quite a few little like fenced off sections. Jess and I reckon that they're mine shafts. I'm going to leg it over to one and have a look at it quick. Sure look like mine shafts to me. Wouldn't want to fall in one. So you go to the WA goldfields, they're just open. It's just a sign, a couple of signs saying caution and beware of the mine shafts and free rein. But over here, I guess due to popularity and traffic, they've put some fences up, which is good because they've not filled them in and gotten rid of them, so they're still there to see, but they're safe at least. Well, back on the track after lunch, and we've got the last bit of Crooked River to do. Then we'll go up Bulltown Spur, check out the Grant historic area and guess town site at the top of the ridge, and then we'll work out which way we're dropping back down into the Wanangata Valley, either Randalls, Conway or Collingwood, but I'd say probably Conway or Randalls because they'll come out closest to our camping area. So yeah, that's this afternoon's plan.
At the end of the Crooked River track, we turned onto the Bulltown Spur track. It starts at about 400 metres elevation and finishes at close to 1,000 metres elevation at Millens Road. It does that in a relatively short distance, so it is quite a steep track. It is also pretty narrow, but it's in reasonable / pretty good condition. So, certainly it was a good way out. With some specky views through the mirrors looking backwards.
made our way up the Bulltown Spur track onto McMillan's Road, just cruised along that, and now we're literally just driving into the Grant camping area, or Grant Historic Township area. So we'll have a poke around, see what we can find. Find anything good, we'll show it to you.
Not really much to it. There were roadies sort of did a loop around, and there was a couple of plaques and stuff, but given the wind and stuff, we didn't go out and read said plaques. So yeah, sort of thought maybe there might be like a half brick wall or something. There might have been footings, but with tall grass we didn't see anything.
So overall, Grant, worth a visit? Not worth a visit?
I reckon maybe the plaques had some pretty interesting info, and like if you're a bit into sort of how it used to be, you probably learnt some pretty cool stuff. Or we were just a bit lazy today, so probably didn't give it the full potential it deserved. But not a challenge to get to, so if you're looking for a challenge, it's not where you want to head.
So we're currently descending Conways track. There's not a camera I own that does this justice in regards to steepness, looking up there and looking down there, but there's also not a camera I own that is going to do this view justice. I did a bit of research, but man, we've hit some gems this trip. Nothing's been crazy hardcore. I mean, Scrubby Creek track yesterday was probably pushing the limits of what I was happy to take on solo. Probably a little bit over the limits, to be honest. But everything else has been good. It's been fun without being crazy, and we've gotten the full high country experience. So yeah, I mean, it just is beautiful. I mean, if you look carefully up that ridge line, that's Billy Goat's Bluff going up, and then that peak over here, which is there, that is the Pinnacles, or the Pinnacle Lookout where we were yesterday. Driving down Green Valley, the river snaking through the valley below, and then the mountains up the other side. It is really cool, really cool.
We continued making our way down Conways track. We found a couple sections in, I guess, the lower half that had just a little bit more water erosion to them. Certainly nothing crazy, but it did mean that you wanted to pick your line a little bit just to keep your wheels on the high stuff, straddle the washouts where possible. Once we reached the bottom of Conways track, we intersected the Wonnangatta River again and Wonnangatta Road, and from there we made our way back towards camp.
So yeah, back at camp now, mid-afternoon. The wind's up. I'm glad to see that everything at camp is still where we left it. But yeah, it's our last night here tonight. We've got just a pre-cooked meal to heat up, because again, we're sort of getting low on rations. We'll be in Bright in a few days' time to resupply again. But yeah, I'm not going to bother with a fire tonight. Too windy, and we're going to be just doing little things, packing up, tidying up and whatnot, in preparation for moving tomorrow. That I probably won't really sit around the fire and enjoy it. So yeah, this afternoon just start on those little bits and pieces, those little chores. You know, hot water system to pack up, fire pit to pack up, table to pack up, just all the little bits and pieces like that. When we set up at King Hut, we positioned ourselves thinking a little bit about solar. So there was not a day where we stayed at King Hut, even when it was a little bit patchy, overcast and whatnot, where we didn't make it back to 100%. At Black Snake Creek, the more open section down the far end, there was another family camped there when we arrived. And obviously with the girls, we don't want to camp too close to anybody else, if they scream and make noise and, you know, carry on. So we came down this end, and our solar, or opportunities for making solar, has really only been limited to like 2 hours a day from about 1 o'clock through to about 3:30, and then we get shadows from the tree behind us and the trees across the bank, and in the morning we get shadows from the hills and the trees behind me now. So yeah, we've gradually been going down. This morning we were at about 77%. We made our coffees with the inverter, and both times we forgot to turn the inverter off. So we come back to camp today, and obviously it's just standby draw from the inverter. It can't be helped. We're down to like 65% on our batteries, which is obviously heaps. They're lithium batteries. We can go down to 20%, so it's not an issue by any means, given that we're hooking up and towing tomorrow. But yeah, more a mental reminder to us, and something I'll share with all of you when you go out for the day or whatnot. Just have your list of idiot checks, you know, locking the van, putting stuff away, locking the compartments, and just checking that, you know, inverters are off, water pumps are off, that sort of thing. Well everyone, that wraps up today. Had a blast on the tracks today. Again, a lot of diversity. Crooked River track, a lot of fun. The water levels were low, but you still had the same entry and exits to the creeks, which a couple of them were fairly tricky and could easily catch you out. And then obviously up Bulltown Spur, which is a good climb, and then back down Conways with fantastic views. So yeah, all in all, very happy, good fun day. The wind has eased, so it's very calm now. Potentially some rain coming in over night time. Tomorrow is our scheduled moving date anyway, so if it does rain tomorrow, we're in the car for some of it. The rough plan for tomorrow is up to Devil's Hollow, drop the van there, do Blue Rag, stay the night at Devil's Hollow, and then into Bright the next day. Pending cloud and rain and all of that, we might go all the way through to Bright tomorrow, have a couple of days in Bright to resupply, come back to Devil's Hollow and do Blue Rag then, when hopefully the weather will be better and we can obviously capture the gorgeous high country views. But watch this space, we'll see tomorrow when we get up that way. Anyway, we're going to sign off for the night. We'll pick you up tomorrow. All we've got left to do is pack up chairs and tables, and we'll pick up the awning, the floor, the shade cloth floor, so if it does rain, at least that's dry. We'll leave the awning out so that we can come out in the morning and make breakfast and whatnot under cover. So yeah, it's not a lot left to show you this afternoon, tonight. See you tomorrow.
Morning everyone. Bit of a wet and miserable morning this morning, but sort of expected. The rain came in pretty much as forecast at about 8:30 last night. We were already in the van. I was doing some video editing,
and it just lulled us to sleep. Just that sound of rain on the roof, very peaceful. Anyway, we've just finished some breakfast this morning. The girls are inside having their brekkie, packing away the inside of the van. I'll pack away the kitchen, roll up the awning, hitch up, and we're on the road out of here. So, Black Snake Creek, thank you for having us for the last few days. A pretty well situated central base camp to explore up towards the Pinnacles and Billy Goats, and also to go Dargo Way and up into the Gibraltar Ranges, Conway Track, Crooked River, all of that. So yeah, good camping spot, really good camping spot. Be sad to leave it, but we'll go on and find another gem in the high country, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, we'll get packed up and get rolling.
From our camp at Black Snake Creek, we had a short run of gravel back into Dargo, and then made our way onto the Dargo High Plains Road heading north. There's a pretty good long steep climb out of Dargo, which is bitumen, and when you get to the top it goes to gravel. Now, we found the Dargo High Plains Road to be really good condition and perfectly suitable for our setup. There is conjecture as to whether you're allowed to tow on it or not. There's a sign on one side saying you're not allowed. There's no signs on the Dargo end as you head north about towing. So it's one of those things, confusion reigns supreme. Part along the Dargo High Plains Road, we took a detour out to check out Devil's Hollow. We really wanted to camp out here tonight, however decided against it because the beauty of camping at Devil's Hollow is to take in the gorgeous views. We weren't seeing that with all the cloud and stuff around.
Is the floor dirty?
Yeah, the new one.
You need a new little house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not much to it, but if it was blowing a gale and snowing outside, you'd probably be glad for it. Well, I tried to speak to the camera before, but there was a bit of noise in the car, so I don't know how much it heard, or you heard. But basically, whilst we're in the clouds, there's not much point staying the night at Devil's Hollow or going and doing Blue Rag, because the views from here and Blue Rag is the whole reason that you would come and visit. Yes, it's very cool to be in the clouds, but we're in them now for lunch and whatnot, and it defeats us being able to have the view. So we just rejigged the next few days, basically from here. If we stayed at Devil's Hollow tonight, we were going to go to Bright for the next few days and resupply, and then come back towards Omeo. So we can just flip it. We can go through to Bright this afternoon, next few days in Bright to resupply, a few days time, come back to Devil's Hollow. Weather looks much more promising, should be sunny and clear. So we can do Blue Rag and Devil's Hollow, capture the views, enjoy them, and then from here, loop back around through to Omeo and down towards Buchan and on to the next leg of the high country. So yeah, it's swapping Bright and Devil's Hollow around, and again, that's why, you know, it's good to have a degree of flexibility with your trips when you do stuff like this, because you will hit the odd challenge, and you might, you know, if you've got a bit of flexibility, you can at least swap some things and then still get to achieve what you want to achieve. Anyway, we are here to have lunch. We've had a pulled pork in the Travel Buddy, so I'll get that out, see what that looks like. I haven't repeated our Bremer Bay experience with the pulled pork. We've got nice fresh brioche rolls, and we've got coleslaw as well with us. So yeah, not repeating, leaving half our stuff behind. Bon appetit. Pulled pork, coleslaw, brioche rolls. Flies are very friendly, but anyway, minor complaint. Minor complaint. Well, after having lunch at Devil's Hollow, it was back onto the Dargo High Plains Road, where we were greeted with these stunning views of the Victorian high country. It's really breathtaking, and there's not a lot of places elsewhere like it around Australia. From there, we would then come up upon the start of the Blue Rag Range 4 drive track. That's Blue Rag Range track. It's on the to-do list, but again, with the weather today, it sort of looks like it's clearing, and it might have been worthwhile doing, but we're going to do it when we come back in a few days time, when we drop the van at Devil's Hollow and camp there. So yeah, we'll do Blue Rag Range then, but check out the view. As we worked our way further along the Dargo High Plains Road and up into the higher elevation closer to Mount Hotham, the weather started to clear up, and I started to wonder if I'd made the right decision to bypass Devil's Hollow and Blue Rag and continue on to Bright. It would, however, in the long run prove to be the right decision, as we would in Bright discover our first sort of fairly major mechanical issue on the car for the trip, and so we had to really take care of getting that fixed before working our way back into the Vic High Country. And we would fortunately work our way back to Blue Rag Range Track and Devil's Hollow in a few days time in a stunning weather window, and it would all sort of work out in the end for the better.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Great Escape Adventure. Come back in our next episode as we pull the car apart, find our issues, put it all back together, and cross our fingers that is the worst of the mechanical issues we have for this trip. We then head back out into the gorgeous Victorian high country and basically pick up where we left off, returning to Devil's Hollow and Mount Freezeout and Blue Rag Range before working our way northeast back on our original plan. Anyway, you all know the deal. Happy safe adventuring, stay safe on the tracks and trails. Hopefully one day we get to see you out here. If not, we'll see you in the next episode.